Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they can't say what they mean when it matters most. Communication isn't just about words, it's about confidence. The way you speak determines the way the world sees you. Do you know what separates people who move forward in life from those who stay stuck? It's not intelligence. It's not opportunity. It's communication. Your ability to express yourself clearly, confidently, and calmly can open doors you never thought possible in your relationships, your career, and your personal growth. But here's the truth. Most of us were never taught how to communicate with confidence. We were told to speak up, use our voice, or believe in ourselves. But no one told us how to do that when fear takes over. So today, I want to show you exactly how to communicate with ease. Even when your heart is racing, your voice is shaking, and your mind is full of self-doubt. Confidence is not something you wake up with one day, it's something you build piece by piece through action, self-awareness, and repetition. The reason most people struggle to communicate confidently isn't because they're shy or introverted, it's because they've convinced themselves that confidence is something other people naturally have. But that's a lie. Confidence isn't genetic, it's practiced. Every single person you admire for their communication skills, whether they're on stage, leading a meeting, or simply commanding attention in a conversation, once started from the same place, uncertainty. They just didn't let that uncertainty stop them from speaking up. Confidence grows when you act before you feel ready. When you choose to open your mouth, even though your voice might shake. The mistake many people make is waiting until they feel confident to speak. But if you wait for that perfect moment, it will never come. Confidence comes after you take action, not before. Think about it. The first time you rode a bike, you weren't confident. You wobbled, you fell, but you got back up. Communication works the same way. You build confidence by speaking, failing, learning, and trying again. Every uncomfortable conversation is training. Every time you express your opinion, ask for what you need, or introduce yourself to someone new, you're building a muscle. And like any muscle, it only grows when you use it. Confidence in communication also comes from understanding that you don't need to have all the answers. Most people overthink what to say because they're terrified of saying the wrong thing. But true confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. When you focus on the moment, on genuinely connecting with the person in front of you, the pressure to perform disappears. You stop worrying about sounding smart or impressive, and you start communicating from a place of authenticity. That's when people really listen. Another important truth is that confidence isn't loud. It's not about dominating the room or speaking the most. It's about presence. It's the quiet assurance that your voice matters, that your ideas have value. Some of the most confident communicators are calm, grounded, and deliberate. They don't rush to fill silence or overcompensate with words. They trust themselves enough to let their message land. You build that kind of quiet confidence by learning to be comfortable with discomfort, the pause before you speak, the moment someone disagrees, the uncertainty of not knowing how others will respond. And perhaps the biggest shift happens when you stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone communicates differently, and that's the beauty of it. Confidence is not about copying someone else's style, it's about owning your own. When you embrace the way you naturally express yourself, when you stop judging how you sound and start focusing on what you're saying, that's when ease flows in. Communication with confidence is simply the courage to be yourself, out loud, again and again until it feels natural. Before you even say a single word, your body is already speaking for you. The way you stand, the way you hold eye contact, the way your shoulders are positioned, all of it sends messages about your confidence and emotional state. People make judgments within seconds based on your posture, facial expression, and energy. So even if you say all the right words, if your body says, "I'm nervous," or "I don't belong here," that's the message that will be received. Communication isn't just verbal, it's physical. Your body is the first language people read. Learning to control it consciously gives you an undeniable edge. Imagine walking into a room with your head down, shoulders slouched, eyes darting around. You might not say anything, but your body has already told everyone that you're uncertain or uncomfortable. Now picture walking in with your head up, shoulders back, calm breathing, and steady eye contact. You haven't spoken, but your presence communicates confidence, authority, and ease. That's the power of body language. It builds trust before words even begin. When you learn to use your body intentionally, you can completely change how people perceive and respond to you. The key is alignment. Your body language and your words should match. If you're saying, "I'm excited to be here," but your arms are crossed, your eyes are avoiding contact, and your tone is flat, your message feels false. People can feel that disconnection instantly. Confidence isn't about pretending, it's about congruence. When your gestures, tone, and words flow together naturally, you come across as authentic and grounded. That's what draws people in. Authenticity radiates through posture and movement that feel natural but deliberate. Not stiff, not exaggerated, just present. Breathing also plays a massive role in how you project confidence. Most people underestimate this, but shallow breathing signals anxiety. When you take slow, deep breaths, your nervous system calms down, your voice steadies, and your thoughts become clearer. Before entering any important conversation or presentation, take a moment to pause, breathe deeply, and reset your body. This single habit can shift you from reactive and tense to composed and centered. The steadier your body feels, the stronger your communication becomes. Eye contact is another tool most people misunderstand. It's not about staring or trying to dominate the other person, it's about connection. Holding someone's gaze for just a few seconds at a time communicates confidence and presence. It says, "I see you, and I'm here." The goal isn't perfection, it's balance. Too little eye contact feels insecure, too much feels intimidating. The sweet spot is relaxed focus, like you're genuinely interested in the conversation. Your gestures, too, should be an extension of your message. Use your hands to emphasize, not distract. Open gestures, palms slightly visible, create warmth and openness. Closed gestures or fidgeting create distance. Your body should reinforce your words, not fight them. When your body language and message align, people not only hear you, they feel you. That's the kind of communication that leaves an impression long after the words have faded. Silence is one of the most misunderstood tools in communication. Most people fear it because they associate it with awkwardness or weakness. They rush to fill every pause with words, thinking that talking nonstop makes them sound more confident or intelligent. But the truth is, silence can be more powerful than speech. The ability to pause, to let your words breathe, to allow space for thought, that's where true confidence shows up. Silence signals that you're in control, not desperate to be heard. It shows that you're comfortable enough in yourself, not to fill every gap, just to avoid discomfort. When you speak with ease and confidence, silence becomes your ally. It gives weight to your message. Think about the most impactful speakers or leaders you've ever listened to. They don't rush. They pause strategically. They let their words sink in. Those brief moments of silence command attention because they create anticipation. The audience leans in, wanting to hear what comes next. That's not by accident. It's mastery. Confident communicators understand that silence amplifies impact. It allows the listener to process, and it gives your message emotional depth. Silence also creates space for listening, and listening is half of communication. When you're quiet, you give others room to speak, to share, to open up. People feel seen and valued when you genuinely listen instead of waiting for your turn to talk. That's how you build trust and connection. Most people listen to respond. Confident communicators listen to understand. They use silence as a bridge between perspectives, a way to show respect and presence. When you master the art of listening, your words carry more meaning because they come from understanding, not reaction. Another hidden strength of silence is how it helps you manage your emotions in tense situations. When someone challenges you, disagrees, or says something that triggers you, silence gives you a moment to breathe and think before reacting. That pause is where your power lies. Instead of snapping back or stumbling over defensive words, you can choose your response with clarity. It's a form of emotional intelligence, not letting external pressure dictate your internal state. The one who controls the silence controls the energy of the conversation. Silence also builds presence. It draws people to you because it creates a calm, grounded energy. When you don't rush to prove yourself or dominate the conversation, you give off an aura of confidence and security. People instinctively trust someone who's comfortable with pauses. It signals that you're not seeking validation. You're simply there, fully engaged, fully certain of your worth. That's powerful. Learning to use. Silence takes practice. It feels uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to over-explaining or people-pleasing. But the next time you're in a conversation, try pausing before you answer. Let the silence sit for a beat. Notice how it changes the energy. You'll find that the more you embrace silence, the stronger and more intentional your communication becomes. In a world full of noise, the person who masters silence stands out. Not because they say the most, but because they say what matters. Confidence in communication doesn't come from performing, it comes from preparing. The biggest misconception people have is believing that confident speakers are simply born with a natural gift, that they can walk into any situation, open their mouth, and say the perfect thing without effort. But behind every clear, composed communicator is preparation. Preparation builds familiarity, and familiarity builds calm. When you prepare, you remove uncertainty, and uncertainty is the root of fear. The more you prepare, the more relaxed and authentic you feel in the moment. That's the difference between trying to perform and simply showing up as yourself. When you perform, you are focused on how others see you, on getting approval, avoiding mistakes, and sounding impressive. That mindset creates pressure and anxiety because your attention is turned outward. You're watching for reactions, reading expressions, and adjusting yourself constantly to please others. It's exhausting. Preparation flips that focus inward. It gives you a foundation so solid that you no longer have to chase validation. You've done the work, you know your message, you can trust yourself. Preparation frees you from the fear of forgetting or fumbling because you've already walked through the situation in your mind. Being prepared doesn't mean memorizing every word or rehearsing robotic responses. It means understanding your intention. Why are you speaking? What's the core message you want to convey? What emotion do you want to leave people with? When you know those answers, you can adapt naturally to any situation. That's what confident communicators do. They prepare for direction, not perfection. They know the heart of what they want to say, and that allows them to speak fluidly, to respond authentically, and to stay grounded no matter how the conversation shifts. Preparation also builds trust with yourself. Each time you put effort into getting ready, whether it's practicing your introduction, researching your topic, or anticipating questions, you send yourself a message, "I've got this." That internal trust changes everything. When you walk into a meeting, an interview, or a conversation with that level of self-assurance, it shows. People feel it. You're not scrambling to find words, you're delivering with intention. That's why prepared people appear calm and confident, because they're not improvising their identity in the moment. They've already aligned it with purpose. The irony is that the more prepared you are, the less you need to perform. Confidence becomes effortless. You can relax into your personality, let your natural energy flow, and connect genuinely. You don't need to overcompensate or overtalk. You know your material. You know your story. And that certainty allows you to be fully present. Preparation gives you permission to be human. It makes communication feel like a conversation, not a test. The next time you have an important discussion or presentation, don't aim to impress, aim to prepare. Spend time thinking through your message, rehearsing key points, and grounding yourself emotionally. When you do that, you'll find that confidence doesn't come from pretending to be someone else. It comes from being completely ready to be yourself. The biggest mistake people make when trying to communicate confidently is believing they need to be perfect. They think confidence means flawless delivery, no stumbles, no pauses, no mistakes. But in reality, perfection is the enemy of connection. People don't connect with perfect. They connect with real. Every time you try too hard to sound polished or impressive, you create distance between yourself and your audience. You stop being relatable and start sounding rehearsed. True confidence isn't about performing without error. It's about communicating with authenticity, warmth, and intention. When you focus on connecting rather than performing, the pressure melts away. Connection happens when you allow your personality to come through, when your tone, words, and energy reflect who you are. It's when you speak with honesty instead of hiding behind scripted lines or forced enthusiasm. People can feel the difference instantly. The most magnetic communicators are not the most perfect, they're the most present. They make others feel seen, heard, and valued. They speak like they're in conversation, not on stage. That kind of communication builds trust because it feels human. You don't need to prove yourself, you just need to be yourself. Perfection-focused communication, on the other hand, creates tension. You become hyper-aware of every word, afraid of saying something wrong, and your energy becomes rigid. Instead of listening, you start rehearsing in your mind while the other person is talking. That mental pressure pulls you out of the moment. The irony is, people won't remember your exact words, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. If your energy is anxious or forced, they'll feel that. But if you're relaxed and genuinely engaged, they'll feel comfortable and open in return. Connection grows through vulnerability. The courage to let others see the real you. That might mean admitting when you don't know something, laughing at your own mistakes, or sharing a story that shows your humanity. Those moments create emotional resonance. When people sense authenticity, they lean in. They trust you because you're not hiding behind perfection. This is where confidence truly shines, not in flawless words, but in fearless honesty. Another part of connection is empathy. Confident communicators listen to understand, not just to respond. They pay attention to tone, emotion, and body language. They mirror understanding through small gestures, nodding, maintaining eye contact, softening their tone. That emotional alignment creates an atmosphere of safety and respect. You can't fake that. It comes from genuinely caring about the other person's experience. Communication is not about delivering a perfect speech. It's about creating a shared moment where both people feel understood. When you stop trying to be perfect, your natural charm and presence take over. You stop thinking about yourself and start focusing on the message. The words flow easier, your tone softens, and your confidence feels effortless. People are drawn to that kind of authenticity because it's rare and refreshing. Connection doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. The more you embrace imperfection, the more ease you'll feel, and the more power your communication will hold. Confidence in communication isn't about having the loudest voice, the biggest vocabulary, or the perfect words. It's about showing up as your real, grounded self, prepared, present, and unapologetically authentic. When you understand that confidence is built through action, that your body speaks louder than your words, that silence holds power, that preparation gives you freedom, and that connection always outweighs perfection, you start to see communication for what it truly is, an act of courage. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to express who you are, to build trust, and to influence the world around you in a meaningful way. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. Start now. Speak even when your voice shakes. Stand tall even when your heart is racing. Take a breath before you respond. Look people in the eye. Slow down. Be honest. Every single time you prioritize these small things, you strengthen your confidence muscle. Communication gets easier, more natural, more impactful, not because the fear disappears, but because you learn to move through it with grace. Remember, the goal isn't to impress people, it's to connect with them. Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. The more you let go of the need to perform, the more you'll realize how powerful your presence already is. You don't need to become someone else to communicate with confidence. You just need to uncover the version of yourself that's been waiting to speak freely all along. So, as you walk away from this message, carry this with you. Your voice matters. Your words matter. And the world needs the message only you can deliver. Start practicing today. In your next conversation, your next meeting, your next moment of doubt. Speak with intention, listen with empathy, and remember that every interaction is a chance to grow stronger. Thank you for spending this time growing, reflecting, and believing in yourself a little more. Keep speaking your truth, keep showing up boldly, and keep leading with your authentic voice. You have everything it takes to communicate with confidence and ease, not someday, but right now. Goodbye, and thank you for listening. Stay confident, stay kind, and keep using your voice, because someone out there is waiting to hear it.